think I was really playing that, but I am. See, and this is on a classical guitar. It's not even that great. But I didn't want to play anything that wasn't legit. So there you go. So, hey, welcome to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy to be back. As you can see, we've got the whole crew hanging out with us. I even brought, oh, you can't even see him. He's invisible. He's invisible. There he is. It's the little gray alien head that changes colors, but I bet you he doesn't have any power. He's probably long since dead. Dang, he lost his batteries. But hey, guess what? We still got Dennis Rodman, crazy CIA operative Dennis Rodman back there, and we also have one of my very first paintings of a alien I read about that had kind of like a predator kind of look to it. So it's got all those multicolored dreads coming out of it, and then I got this skull guy that looks like he's out of a Western with a mustache. Now, I don't know how a skull could have a mustache and a beard, but he sure is wearing that Western hat. And he's got, oh, yeah, and he even has a skull on his hat. I love it. Anyway, welcome back. Welcome back. Hopefully, you guys are doing awesome and having a great day, great weekend. It is Sunday, and we're having a nice weekend. Just trying to chill, trying to relax, trying to have some fun. So I was listening to a podcast today, and I thought I'd share it with you. So it's going to be about lobster aliens in the 1970s in Pennsylvania. So that is the story that we're going to talk about, and I think you'll like it because it's not like any other alien stories that I've really ever heard before. So I figured, what the hell? I mean, if you're into aliens like I am, you've heard of all kinds of aliens, and lobsters aren't really at the top of the food chain from what we've heard of. And I guess maybe food chain isn't the right word, but it's not at the top of the list of most experienced alien encounters, right? Mostly we hear of greys and reptilians and tall whites and Nordics and all kinds of stuff like that. So where did this happen? So in the 1970s, there's only a few articles, but I did find a couple, and mostly it happened in Pennsylvania, and I'll give you the details here. So although Pennsylvania was kind of the high point, there were other lobster encounters, like the encounter in the UK in the 1970s, which is one of the more curious accounts. A witness named John reported that he had an encounter with a creature resembling a lobster during a UFO sighting in a remote field. During the encounter, a being that had a large head, hard, shell-like exoskeleton, and pincers looked like those similar to a lobster or a crab. The creature was humanoid in shape, so it had legs and a torso, but one of the more striking features was a crustacean-like exterior. Kind of sounds to me like Hellboy, right? Hellboy had, two arms, two legs, but he had a humongous crushing hand, right? The account didn't involve abduction, but the witness was in close proximity to the being and described a strong sense of intelligence and awareness in the creature's behavior. Some theorists believe that this could be an example of an extraterrestrial species with a biological form evolved for life in underwater, or low gravity encounters. Now, what's really interesting is in my research with this, I came across, I did a ChatGPT search, I did a Google search, I listened to another podcast that did a topic on this that is called extraterrestrial. Let me pull it up here so you guys can listen to it too. I like him a lot. I like listening to his podcast. He's kind of a wild, wacky guy, kind of like me. So his is called Extraterrestrial Reality. If you want to listen to it, but I'm going to talk about some of the things he talked about and more. So feel free to listen to both if you like. But in the research, what I came across was that researchers into Florida's Bermuda Triangle, they state that there's been more encounters with lobster-like creatures than in any other area. And I thought that was really fascinating. I was like, what are they talking about? So apparently, I can pull this up here. There's been a lot of research into the possibility of these creatures actually being from Earth, developed in the Bermuda Triangle area, and having a society down there where they're creating a magnetic um, field, and that magnetic field is basically keeping everything away from where they're living, so that that magnetic field is so strong that it's actually causing planes to disappear, planes to crash, lose all kinds of their instrumentation. So, is that possible? Yeah, it's definitely possible. It's definitely interesting too. Um, there was another feed where we're hearing about lobster-like aliens in Jacques Vallée and John Neal's research, where they saw these beings often appeared in accounts of those who experience strange phenomena. So you're talking about weird electricity, you're talking about floating objects, you're talking about missing time, missing space. They're not commonly mentioned in UFO context, just like I talked about, but they said that these strange entities really took hold in the 1960s and 1970s, especially around the time of the UFO flap. He said in Keel's work, which looked into all kinds of cryptids, they mentioned that they don't fit into the classic gray or reptilian descriptions. They have more bizarre, non humanoid characteristics, sometimes including a lobster like experience. And let's get into one of these experiences so you guys can kind of get a feel for this, because this is what happened in Greene County, Pennsylvania in the 1970s. So let's pull this up here. Can we go dark on this? I like to go dark on the screens. I don't like bright white screens. It hurts my eyes. But let's go with Greene County, Pennsylvania is home to beautiful streams and rivers, lush rolling hills of farmland. But underneath is a supernatural reality brimming with ghosts, aliens, and unknown creatures. Bigfoots, UFOs, and shadow people, even lizard men in haunted houses, are known to make appearances, and a giant lobster like creature that abducts people. Greene County, Pennsylvania seems like it has it all, doesn't it? So a psychic medium and Greene County native Kevin Paul has written almost three books on paranormal activity in the area that he says he first experienced in an unexplained encounter when he was 5 years old, when an apparition made of light showed up into his bedroom, and has seen entities on and off since. Paul found that most of the locations in the county that had paranormal activity reported a history of having Native American burial grounds, documented places of combat, like we know with Gettysburg. So, famous bloody histories are going to have a lot of activity. But let's go to the 1977 account where a Greene County woman had supernatural encounters that started out like a vivid dream. And I believe this is the one where we're going to be talking about. Yeah. Yeah, this is interesting. Okay. So she stated that some bizarre looking creature that sort of looked like a lobster but also had lobster claws instead of hands were at the end of its arm reached out and dragged her from her bed and was trying to drag her out the window like they were going to abduct her. So she had what she thought was a really freaky dream. When she woke up in the morning, she was laying in the middle of the bedroom floor, and her arm in the dream that the creature was had a hold of had turned black and blue, like something actually had grabbed her. So the woman went by the name of Sherry, which is a pseudonym, a fake made up name, was 14 when this incident happened, and she said she experienced a lot of paranormal activity in Greene County in her youth, particularly on her farm. It was weird because at that time, where I grew up, I saw lots of alien ships, a lot of lights in the sky, lots of unexplained activity from the time I was little. But the one that left a mark in my memory was because it left a big bruise around my elbow. I was scared, but I was curious. We had experienced so many strange things at the farm that it became kind of a normal part of their life. And in that belt of like Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, a lot of people have farm activity, a lot of crazy stuff happening on farms. and I had my own farm experience too, where I believe I had my own abduction. So that's, I think, I mean, that's in, that was in Western Illinois, almost Iowa. And so there's a lot of farm activity. I think because these aliens think that there's not going to be any repercussions in a farm, it's away from cities. It doesn't have much human life around it except for whoever's living on the farm. And they can come in quick, land their ship, do what they need to do, be undetected, and get out, right? Especially if it's low. If it's high, people are going to see it. But if it's low and it's just hovering over the farm, and they turn our lights off, they're not going to be able to be seen at night, right? So pretty interesting stuff. So what she said, and what a lot of people say is these entities come through portals. They basically just open up a portal and come in people's bedroom, and are able to abduct them. But what's weird is that she said it was trying to drag her out the window. It's like, why didn't it just drag her through the portal again? It doesn't make much sense there. But then again, I don't know. Maybe it's cheaper, more affordable to go out the window. I don't know. But I wanted to go back to the lobster people of the Bermuda Triangle. So, a lot of UFO researchers and cryptid researchers who study the Bermuda Triangle have claimed that one of the paranormal entities associated with the area is in the form of lobster-like aliens. These beings are said to live beneath the waters of the Bermuda Triangle, have connections to UFOs that are commonly reported in the area. Descriptions vary, but many report that these beings have large lobster-like bodies with tough exoskeletal armor and powerful pinchers. Boy, it makes you feel a little bit bad that you're eating lobsters, unless they're trying to abduct us as well, and in which case, probably wouldn't feel too bad about it. But like I said, one theory is that they might not be from another planet at all. They might just have evolved underwater. And the evolution theory isn't really that strange, right? Because they can evolve easily. We have Gila monsters. We have the Komodo dragon. Have you seen the fuck Komodo dragon? Komodo dragon is a dinosaur. Let's face it, it's a freaking dinosaur, just like alligators and crocs. But the Komodo dragon has evolved to have saliva that will paralyze you upon one bite. It immediately enters your bloodstream and you're paralyzed, and then it can consume you whole because you're paralyzed. Crazy, crazy evolution and crazy development over time because it's had plenty of time to develop. Things have been here for like millions of years. Good thing they are only on one or two islands in the world. But yeah, I mean, these things can definitely develop. The weird thing is that some people even report there's mantis lobster hybrids. Some of the more speculative counters mix mantid aliens with crustacean-like features like lobster claws. Now, could people be confusing the praying mantis with a lobster because they're seeing that it has these kind of like folded over arms that look like they might be a little lobster-like? Well, I think you could kind of tell the difference though, right? Like if you're looking at something that looks like a praying mantis, it's going to look like it has praying mantis arms, not huge claws. So the other podcaster on the extraterrestrial reality was saying that do we believe that these lobsters might be at a higher level than the praying mantis, which seem to be at a pretty high level in the extraterrestrial food chain, and I don't mean actual food chain, I just mean political food chain, um, or not. I kind of think that we saw these experiences in like the 60s and 70s a lot, and there were television series that had a lot of these lobster-like aliens, the lobster people, in movies and television series, a lot of B movies and things like that. Um, so, is it possible that people are just kind of, you know, bringing their minds to the Tim Me Galaxy Laser Team toys of the 1970s that had a turtle lobster figure made of small PVC alien parts? Or is it possible that they're thinking about He-Man, who also had a lobster-like creature as part of He-Man's own toy division made by Hasbro, Mattel, Hasbro, one of the two. Now, a lot of us, grew up in that era, and they have another Masters of the Universe movie coming out. Um, and so I think a lot of these are embedded in pop culture, but they get into pop culture somehow, right? It's not like we're taking our favorite animals like dogs and kittens and putting them into like, television series as like alive, you know, alien creatures that I'm aware of. It seems like we're taking them from real abduction stories or encounter stories and putting them in the lizard men, right? You see those in old school movies. Lobster men, those are in the 60s and 70s. The Grays started to come out as well, but that was a little bit later, it seemed like. I mean, the 80s. And so, and the lizards of the show V, where they pretended they were humans and they peeled back their human face and they had reptilian face. Crazy shit like that, right? So I think that, while there were a lot of movies about this, I think that they come from somewhere, something that is real, that feels real. And it's scary because a lot of these people are like freaked out. They're like, this is something that really happened to me. Especially when you have such a bizarre creature that makes no sense, right? It doesn't make sense in our minds as humans, but it makes sense in the universe. And the weird thing is that is it possible? Let's say they don't come from Earth. That they, maybe there are a species that is underneath the Bermuda Triangle, but maybe there's others that are similar to these lobster creatures from another planet. We already know that there's human-like beings that live on other planets, look very similar to us. Maybe their eyes are a little bit different swirl to it, or a larger eye set, but by and large, they look nearly identical to humans, uh, in the form of the Nordics and others. Um, I've heard Pleiadians even look like this, but it doesn't matter where they're from. We know that there's many that are out there that look very similar to us. They can walk amongst us. We've had whistleblowers talk about that. Now, if these lobster beings come from another planet, maybe, and this is something I was thinking about, when we're talking about technology that is outside of the realm of our kind of understanding, many alien species have kind of communicated this to abductees when asked about how their ship works. How are they able to come to Earth? And some of them have said that they just turn a dial and it basically changes the frequency and they pop in to Earth. That would mean they come from a different dimension, not like a travelable dimension planet in our universe, but they actually came from another parallel universe. That would be interesting. And that would almost make sense because they're so strange and so bizarre and so different. They don't have to come from another universe, but that is a definite theory. Not, I mean, if you think about it, it's not that strange. Think about bringing a radio back to a caveman and saying, "Hey, listen to this music," and you're listening to the music, and they're like, "Oh my God, that music's awesome! I didn't even know you can make music so amazing." Not that they could probably speak, but if you were telepathically communicating with them, they would be able to tell you that. And now you take the dial and you tune it to a different radio station. Now it's a totally different radio station. It's like going to a different world. And they're like, "Oh my God, what? How did you do that? You just turned the dial and you all of a sudden you have different music? What? Are there people in there?" The technology is just so out there, but we know that frequencies can change things. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could just be changing frequencies. And frequencies are so powerful. We're just on the bleeding edge of learning about frequencies and how they can really affect us. Going back all the way to Mr. Rife, who created the Rife machine, which has which created different frequencies and supposedly and reportedly are used by many people to heal many diseases. So that's something that's fascinating. That's just frequencies, and even Tesla said everything is frequencies. So there you go. I don't know. Are these things coming from another universe? Are they coming from our own planet, or are they coming from another planet within our universe? What do you think? Put your comments in the comments section. Um, and let me know why you think they'd be interested in us, because we are a land faring species. We're not even in the ocean. Why would they be interested in a land-faring species when there's so much land? There's so much species diversity in the water. They don't need to look at us. They can just continue to do research on their own. But now they want to do research on us, maybe? Or were they just looking for a snack? Interesting. Well, if they were looking for a snack, the people never came back, right? And there's not a lot of stories about lobsters. This lady was able to escape it before it took her. So maybe there's more stories out there and the people just never came back. That's interesting. There are reports of people being in ships and seeing other humans being stuck on those ships, not being able to get out. They're in rooms and different things and not able to get out. So fascinating. Let me know what you think. Put your comment in the comment section. All right. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Stay positive physically, spiritually, emotionally. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. And as always, continue to question the universe around you. Until next time, guys, take care. Lockdown Universe out. Peace.